Hello and welcome to our second installment of Cloud Productivity Solutions. And all our focus and attention will be on Dropbox Cloud Solution for this session here. So welcome, my name is Despina Karatius. I am coming to you from Institute of Excellence, where I provide training solutions for tourism, digital marketing, and social media marketing. And it's all about inspired training solutions that will easy to implement for the small tourism business owner, marketer, and development manager. So, and not just tourism, widely broad, also extended to just the extended small business community. Now, any comments, any questions, anything you'd like to reach out to explore further, please always feel free to reach me on any of the tools, any of the networks, or, let's go old school and you can send me an email to despina@instituteofexcellence.com. Always good to pay your attention and your focus on the training. This is a recorded training for your convenience, so you can stop and start as you please. But certainly to get the best out of it is to eliminate all of your distractions, keep a notepad and pen at the ready, and away you go to see what you can take away and what you can implement into your training. Now, the goals that we have for your training are certainly to understand and appreciate what you can create when you endorse or kind of engage into the Dropbox suite of business solutions into your own practice, what it is to have a Dropbox for business, and the additional features that the Dropbox suite of products can provide for you. The lessons that I've included in here for really an introduction in terms of beginning with Dropbox, working in teams and collaborating using the platform, additional features, and some advanced Dropbox tips for you to take into your considerations. So when beginning with Dropbox, what we want to focus on is how to create a Dropbox account, how to save your work in Dropbox, and how to upload files and folders. What's the difference between Dropbox and, say, Google My Business is essentially, number one, is that if you don't have something like a Google Suite, this is a next great solution for you to give you the same sharing capabilities as does Google Drive, without having to go and be using that platform. So this is like something that you can consider as an addition to Google Drive, or as a standalone product if Google Drive is something that you're not really interested in doing right now. In my own business, I do like to use both for different reasons, but particularly for Dropbox, and I'll show you more as we go through how I love the accessibility of all my files, and I like the accessibility of the ability that I can share my files through Dropbox, including this presentation. So over 500 million active monthly users using Dropbox, over 400 billion pieces of content that is uploaded. So another massive, massive piece of software for businesses, over 1.2 billion files uploaded on a daily basis, and over 300,000 teams working on Dropbox Business, as well as over 35 billion Microsoft Office files stored on Dropbox. And this is very much how I use Dropbox, or how I've used. Dropbox came a lot earlier into my business journey than Google Drive did. And I do have all of my Office, all of my Microsoft suite of products. Especially, say, for my training business, I do use PowerPoint as my preferred slide deck tool for building my training and my courses, and all of these exist in Dropbox, because something that you have to be really mindful of is when you are sharing large files, like a presentation like this, for example, it is well over, it's into the 100 megabytes. This is not something I can easily, or in the beginning, I could easily share over email. This is with clients that I wanted to go over the content with them, or with the, With students and businesses that I would have in my classes with me, I needed a solution, and Dropbox provided that, where I can have a share filing system where I can share large files easily. Over 12.3 billion paying customers, particularly with the likes of the Dropbox business tool. Now, again, where the monetization comes in for Dropbox and where we see the value as businesses to pay them for this service is for the large, for the capability to store large files. You can see now this is all on the cloud. Back in the day, I know, and businesses still exist, I needed this massive, big, fat server that I would need to keep updating and need to keep, backing up to keep all my files. But now we have cloud solutions like Dropbox that we can keep. We can have everything in the cloud, and we don't have to have these big pieces of hardware to do that work for us. Now, there are risk elements. I mean, this is always the caveat. There is still risks. I mean, if something happens to Dropbox, what happens to all of those files? We need, as businesses, to also take those into account and have double backups of our files. I mean, it's just good mitigation for us to think of these when we are putting our businesses in the cloud. And certainly this is something that is also very much well taking, into consideration for these platforms too. But something to always be mindful that, you can put all your stuff in the cloud, but at the same time, backups are backups, whether you've got it physically, a physical server within your business and how you back up your files and your storage, to there being on the cloud. Risk in business is everywhere. It's just how well we have a strategy to minimize and mitigate that risk. Some more fun facts: over 4,000 files edited per second, and you have over 500 million app installs. For me, as a very much, I think isn't just even for, freelance. I'm a trainer. I develop content and programs. I have an office, but certainly my office is my briefcase where I have my Mac. I mean, my Mac computer is very much my entire being and my office. So I need very much the flexibility to access files anywhere and everywhere. And including my phone. Dropbox has saved me many times when I'm on the road. I could be out in a regional destination in Victoria or interstate or overseas. Now I'm always on, just because I'm not physically bound to a desk for 8 hours a day that I'm remote delivering training. I still need to always be working on all of my future projects and what I'm doing. So having also the accessibility of having my files at my fingertips via my phone when I need things really quickly, this is a very good thing to have when you are looking at your Dropbox, at your file solutions. Now, again, you've got to apply these tools to your business and your frustrations and your wish list and what limits you within your business. But certainly, speaking from experience, the more I've moved on to these things, the more I've been able to scale and be more productive with my time. Dropbox revenue in 2018, over $1 billion. Again, I see these stats and fun facts and the success of these businesses as a really good sign that they are healthy, they are sustainable, and that's who I want to be using and using as part of my armor suite of products that I implement into my business to keep myself green and growing and ability to stay light on my feet. Setting up your Dropbox. When you're setting up your Dropbox, you need to go visit the Dropbox site, obviously, www.dropbox.com, opening the downloaded file and beginning the installation. And that's it. Really, step by step, go through the flow, and you can have you can start using the Dropbox program and software for your filing systems. When you're saving your work into Dropbox, the Dropbox folder works just like any other folder on your computer. It's literally, and when, again, I am going to pop the bonnet on Dropbox. I always like you to see. I've got screenshots in here for you exactly how this works. It's so familiar to what we're already used to in folder systems that it's even for the complete novice, it's very easy to follow because it's familiar. To save your work in Dropbox, you can literally, it's even easier because you can drag and drop your files into the folder you've created, and everything in the folder is automatically synced to everything else, everywhere else you have access to your folder. And again, I'll explain more about that. Like I shared with you earlier, I've got files I've got my Dropbox folder as my local folder, so I don't actually save my files onto my PC. I don't save my files onto my Mac. I save them in Dropbox because access everywhere is important to me. In the same way that I also save my files, that I also have access onto my phone. So sometimes I actually need to save work from my phone. Particular with images. I might want to have an image that I want to save and want to have access to later. I'll do that through my Dropbox folder, and then it's there as an example. So that is another great thing and a benefit. Understanding syncing. Now, if we don't ensure that our files are synced, and I'll give you an example. Last week, I delivered a training to Monash University. I worked on my presentation on my desktop, so on my Mac desktop. Now, while I did that, I needed to ensure that it's synced, that the actual file, and that just meant it's finished saving within the Dropbox server and syncing onto all of my other folders, because that is the only way that then when I got to when I used the presentation from my laptop, that I could have access to the work that I did onto my onto the presentation from my desktop. And I've only had problems in the past when it hasn't synced, and then I go to present and it's still the older information, it's still not the updated folder, and that is because it didn't have enough time to sync properly. And there are very visual color-coded tools that allow you and alert you in Dropbox to let you know that, yep, when you get a green and a tick within Dropbox, it will let you know that you're all good to go and your files are synced everywhere. You'll get a blue arrow to say this is in progress and it's happening. We're just processing and syncing your files right now. And then when you have an issue, it very clearly lets you know within all your folder systems that Houston, we have a problem. This hasn't synced. You might want to go and check this out. So uploading files on the Dropbox website, you need to sign in to your Dropbox. And obviously, if you haven't created an account first, it's creating an account, and then you've got your credentials that you can sign in. You can click the upload button at the top of the window, click choose file button, and then select the file on your computer that you want to have into your Dropbox. And then you can choose as many files as you like and click start the upload button. So even this is a great tool if you're used to saving your work onto a hard drive, like, if you've got an external hard drive that you use as a backup for your files, this is another backup solution. Or in my case, this is my solution, okay? So there's those different ways of the way that you could use Dropbox. Here's an example of what I'm talking about in using my Dropbox as my local folder. So I've taken a screenshot here of what my desktop looks like, and then I've synced and I've got my actual Dropbox in there as a file. Now, this is being created not via here. I created this into I signed up on Dropbox.com first, created my folders, and then it's synced onto here. So anything new, any new folders that I add here is automatically, if I created a new folder here, and then I went and signed into my Dropbox, it will also appear there. So then it's all very much the same account synced everywhere. So you can see here now I'm in my Dropbox, and anything that I do here, I also have available onto the Dropbox, onto my Dropbox website. When I sign in, I also have it available onto my mobile app. So now you can see accessibility. I've got it locally. This is what my files, so the same folders here that I have locally, this is what it also looks like on my app. So whether you've got an Android or an Apple iPhone, you can go and just search your Dropbox folder on Google Play or your iPhone or your Apple store, find Dropbox, and then you put in the same credential that you've signed in and you signed up for, and it will automatically sync and have your folders available to you there. And then here is where you have access to all of your folders on your Dropbox.com, onto your website. I need to note that on, say for example here, on my Dropbox that I have on my desktop via on my laptop. Now my laptop only has a certain amount of storage. On the account that I have on Dropbox, I pay a subscription. It's approximately $120 a year, and I have access to 1 terabyte worth of storage. That is a lot of storage. I haven't found, still I've got a lot of photos, a lot of files, a lot of presentations and slide decks. I'm not even close to even reaching 1 terabyte. So that's a good investment of my money for 120 bucks. Okay. Now, on my desktop, however, when I sync it, I can have this also lean I can also have this kind of cloud-based where it doesn't affect my storage on my desktop. However, if you find that it's taking up storage on your desktop, you can also choose, you don't have to choose to see all of your folders. So you can see here, this is a condensed version which I've selected. I've only synced my very important go-to files that I use all the time onto my desktop, whereas on my actual, in my Dropbox files, when I go onto Dropbox.com, I have access to absolutely everything. Now, when it comes to sharing, and I'll just show you the process that I go through. If I want to share this presentation with you, which is a large file to email each of you, I can go into here and see if I choose. I've gone into my folders and see here, just like any other folder in Microsoft or Google Drive, you can come in here and you see the sequential order of where the files can be found. So for example, to show you this presentation, I've developed it in a Dropbox file. I've got courses, 2019 new training, cloud product solutions, and then I've got my Dropbox cloud solution and the module PowerPoint presentation. That is where this file is. So here, see the file exists here, Dropbox cloud solution PP for PowerPoint. Now, I can choose, if you see on the right hand side there, you've got some options. I could say here, okay, I could choose to upload that entire folder with you where it says module PowerPoint, but I'm not particularly, you don't need the entire folder of how I built this presentation and all the different images that I had to screenshot and copy and paste and save and research. All you're interested in are these slides. So when you're able to do that again, you've got a resource to be able to use step by step. So in order to not share the folder and just share the file, if you come into the right-hand side, if you hover your mouse over the right-hand side of where that particular file is, you can dongle down and you'll see share. If I click on that, this pop-up box will come up now, and I can say Dropbox Cloud Solutions PowerPoint, and I can enter a to email address. I can add a message, and then I can either send it through here and say, so as soon as I activate an email, I can say, yep, share with that particular person. Or very similar to like the Google Drive solution, I can just create a link to give a specific URL that I can share with you. And this is excellent for times like this. I don't know I don't even know, to be honest with you, who is watching this presentation. Okay, this is something that I am putting out there into the world, and you might, but we are not having a direct one-on-one communication. However, for me to be able, so I don't have your email address to be able to send it to you directly to your inbox. What I can do in this instance though is I can create a link, and here is the link that Dropbox has created. Now, another little tip and tool and crowd solution to share with you. This is really long and ugly, and within this presentation tool, I can't even share this link with you unless I know your email address, or I know your, Instagram, or we're connected on Facebook. I can't email you this link. So to make it easier for you when we're sharing large links like this, again, via Dropbox or via Drive, I use a tool that's called Bitly. So bit.ly bit.ly. And what happens here is that we can come in and use a Bitly. So you can go onto bit.ly onto your browser, and it brings you this up. Now, you don't have to sign in up for an account to be able to have access to this. But how I find this really useful is that I've copied and pasted that big long link that I just showed you earlier. And what I've done, I've copied and pasted in here, and then it gives me, it's a link shortener. And then it gave me a really short link that I could give, that is easier to share with others, rather than, especially if you have to verbally exchange a link with them, or share it with, whether you do presentations yourself, share the link within your slides. One step further is I can customize the back end of my link. So here, for you to access this presentation, if you go to bit.ly, so bit.ly /Dropbox Cloud Solutions Slides, if you go and pop that into a browser, boom, you are going to have access to the Dropbox file of these slides. So there's a real deal example that you can do right now. Go into your browser and pop in that URL, and you will have all the slides for this particular training. So to summarize, we've learned how to download, how to install and create a Dropbox account, how to use the Dropbox folder, and understanding how Dropbox Sync works into multiple devices, okay, on your in your business. I have found this very, very valuable, and as you can see, I still use it today. For many of you that use updated, I find this is great tool. If you update, you've got a new brochure, you've got a new special, if you do agent, if you work within distribution, particularly for any tourism operators that might be tuning in and listening to and participating in this online training, this is a great way where you can even put all your hero images, put them into a Dropbox folder of all your top images, or all your new rates and information, and pop it into a Dropbox link that you can customize and share it, and in a way with people that you collaborate and do business with and help sell your product and experiences. So that's it for our introduction. We'll move on to our next lesson. And that lesson is working in teams and collaborating in the same way. Again, as an alternative to Google Drive, you can also use Dropbox to be able to collaborate within teams. So let's have a look at that. We'll look at how to join your team on Dropbox, what a Dropbox badge is and how do we use it, and how to share links and restore files. So when we're looking at joining your team, you need to click the link in the invitation email, and there you'll be taken to the Dropbox website. If you click join your team and set up your work Dropbox by filling in, the details. So step by step by step, once you click that blue button, you can add your business, your business account will be created. So this way, when you're adding, you can add multiple teams. So if you, this is something you can have a Dropbox account with multiple people. It could be with just one person that you work with closely. So that way, any new files that need to be created, all can be synced within that particular folder across the board. Now, setting up your personal Dropbox. So if this is something that you might not feel is kind of, it's not something that you're particularly interested with your business, but you want to set up a personal Dropbox, you can also do that too and connect your personal Dropbox. And this is a great way. I mean, it all leads to paying eventually. So there's a free, there's free storage that's given to you initially. I think up to, it's the same in terms of like how many gig. Off the top of my head, it might be, I think it might be more than 15 gig. I'll have to double check that, or you can, our friend Google will be able to let you know, or just go straight onto Dropbox. But I need to let you know that you can have access to Dropbox for free as a personal Dropbox, and you can even sync it every time you sync your phone. It can automatically upload photos into that account, but it does also scale. The more storage you need, there is also a paid solution with that. So important information that you must know when you're setting up a personal Dropbox. You'll need an email address, of course, to separate the one that you've used for your team account when you're using it for business. Your personal Dropbox will be separate from your work one, and your business account admin cannot access it. So it doesn't work in the same way as other tools that we're used to. For example, for myself, I've got a Gmail address for my personal Gmail. So I do have a personal Gmail account that has a drive associated with that for personal use. That's how I started that a long, long time ago, even before I had a business. But I also have the same in a Dropbox account, and I have a separate Dropbox account for my business. But if you don't require a personal account, you can just say, no thanks, and I'll just deal with this later. I'm only using this for my business purposes. Now, collaborating with the Dropbox badge, this is what the badge looks like, which is essentially the Dropbox logo and the symbol. I have this badge available on my, say for me, I use my Mac or I have an Apple desktop. This is very much this symbol I've synced onto those computers, and I've also have this available to me, as I explained earlier, via the app. So the Dropbox badge helps you collaborate right within the desktop apps that power your work, and that includes your work with Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. This is a key distinction, that Dropbox essentially is a tool where you can store all of your Microsoft assets and your files and your documents. Google Suite is, although you can still upload all of your Microsoft products, it is an ability, it is a complete other solution it has complete new products where you can create new, the equivalent of new Microsoft Word spreadsheets and slides and so forth. So if you haven't seen that training, you might want to go back and search on to the Google Drive Cloud Productivity Solutions to get your head around that. But with Dropbox, it's not essentially it's not a new way to create documents. It's a storage solution. It's a cloud storage solution for all of your Microsoft products. So to update to the latest version of a file, shares your files right from the badge and restores previous version of your files. So key points is that you can decide where and when the badge is visible, or you can turn it off completely. So this is while you're actually in the documents, the Dropbox badge will also appear where you can share files, where you can share those files directly within the document. Again, this Dropbox just provides that other layer of making your documents shareable and open and accessible as you work. So sharing a link, you can click on the Dropbox badge, click copy Dropbox link, and the copied link can be shared with people who would like to have copy and access. Again, what we're talking about here is directly when you're working in the document. You can, in terms of sharing folders, in the same way, it gives you the same access to like what I showed you earlier, even within the Dropbox website. So you can click on the Dropbox badge, share the folder settings, and then manage user permissions on all the on an individual basis. Then restoring previous versions of your files. Again, you can click on the Dropbox badge, you can view file history, and then you can see a full list of all of the revisions that you've done for that particular document. Personally, I've never really used this, but I think it's good for you to know, good for me to know, and good for all of us to know that this option is also available to you, as that you can have that access to the history of your revisions and how a document has come to life. Changing when the badge is visible. So if you click the Dropbox icon in your system tray, you can click the gear icon and select preferences. So this is where you could choose if you'd always like to see the Dropbox badge, or only when others are viewing a file with you, or never. And this is what that looks like. So to completely disable the Dropbox badge, you can select never show. Okay, so if you want to completely select it, and to give you an idea, again, I always say I can pop the bonnet on this. See up here on this is my Dropbox badge where I have everything synced onto my desktop where I'm delivering this presentation from. So I can click down here and I can have all of these different preferences that are available to me. So if I toggle down here now, I've clicked on these little 3 dots and I go into preferences. I could say here where I want, I can show here how I want my sync to sync to all new items in my files. In here, I have Dropbox badge. I want to always show it. But if it bothered me for any reason, or show only if others present, I can never show it. But I do have it available to me always. And that's it. There's a lot available here. And sync here is where I choose. See here, if I go choose folders to sync, see here, this is all of my folders in my Dropbox. This is everything I have available. But notice on my laptop, I only want quick and easy access to only a few. So I don't want to trawl through a whole different folders, but every folder is important to my business. So everything exists and I have it, but what I make visible and accessible on my computer is only a selected few. Okay, so that gives you just a real life account of how that works. So if we go back into, oh no, I don't want that. If we go back into here and summarize what we've just gone through, we've learned how to create a Dropbox, how to create, learn how to create Dropbox work accounts, and also how to join your team, what a Dropbox badge is and how it works, and different settings of the Dropbox badge. Now for this, it's really important that, just like anything like this, the best way is for you to just sign up, create an account, and have a play. Upload a new file, upload a folder, or create a new folder, or sync your sync your folders into your Dropbox, and then have a play around and see how you can share a link via sharing it to an email, even if it's just to yourself to start with, to see how it all works, and assess if this is going to be something useful for your business. Moving right along on to lesson 3, additional features. If we go into here, we want to look at how to set up two-step verification, so keeping your work and folders safe, the types of authentication, and how to use authentication methods. So enabling two-step verification. So before enabling this, you'll receive 10 8-digit backup codes. So this is important that you write these keys down and store them somewhere safe. So you'll need one of these backup codes for emergency access to your Dropbox. I say this is all optional extra. I don't have verification codes set up onto mine. I'm very happy with just having my, I've got my login and my password, and everything is set up in that way. But I do like to let everyone know of all the different features that are available. And this is kind of added extra stuff for you to be aware of. So you can sign into your Dropbox website, click on your name in the top, in the upper right-hand corner. And then when you click settings from your account menu, you can select your security tab. So again, if really backup and security, and we talked earlier about risk and risk management, this is another layer that you can add to that. Further to this, you select enable under two-step verification, and then click get started. So when you re-enter your password, you can enable two-step verification and then choose how you want to receive your security codes, whether it's by text, whether it's by email, whether it's, you ring a number, you choose how you want that to work. Choosing your authentication method, you can do it, as we said, using text messages or using mobile apps. When you're using text messages, you can select to use text, and then during two-step verification setup, then you'll enter your preferred phone number and you'll be sent a security code by text. Similar, we're very used to this type of verification, particularly for all of us that use online banking. If you're using your mobile app, you can select use the mobile app during the two-step verification, and then choose to scan a barcode or click enter of your secret key manually. And then once this is configured, you can enter the security code generated by your authenticator app to verify setup and enable the two-step verification process. Again, for any of you, I use this on Xero on my accounting system. This could very much be another cloud productivity solution. I love Xero. For my Xero, because it involves my finances as well as my banking, I do use this a separate authenticator app that generates a new password that is directly linked to my account that I can have access to. If you are very protective of sensitive information that you have in your filing system and you want to go to converting everything over to Dropbox, this might be something that you might want to consider for your business as well. So let's look at a summary of these additional features. We looked at having to add extra security to your Dropbox. We looked at 2 particular methods of authentication via a text message, or via a third-party app like an authenticator app, and how to use the mobile app and text message for authentication. Okay, I hope you found that valuable, and we'll move on to our next lesson, which is advanced Dropbox tips. Okay, so when we're looking at advanced Dropbox tips, what happens if you lose everything? So ways you can restore deleted files, adding comments on shared files, and how to remotely wipe your data. So if you did have a device stolen and you have folders synced. For example, what you can do to protect yourself there. So let's look at restoring deleted files. You can recover deleted files right from your Dropbox website, either individually or in groups. And the way you would do this, you'd sign in to your Dropbox website, you'd click the Show Deleted Files icon, which is essentially the trash can, and in the top right-hand corner, and all your deleted files will show up in grey. Okay. To restore these individual files, you select the files you want to recover, so it could be one or it could be many, and click the Restore button. When you want to restore a group of files, you can do the same thing. Sign into your Dropbox website, click the trash icon on the left-hand side of the screen, and then click a file name to see the event details. From there, you click again, Restore All Files. If you want to add comments on files, so particularly if you're working on Teams or you're collaborating with someone on a file using Dropbox, to add comments, you can leave and view comments on documents right from the browser. So then you can tag others to respond or complete a task related to the file. So when you're collaborating, you'll also have a name association on your account. So you can tag very much in the way that we're very used to tagging, with an @ symbol and then tagging your team or colleagues or clients, depending on who you're working with. So here you can see tagging someone in a comment. You can come in here and you're working on a file and you're collaborating, and then you can have this, you can go through and add your message to the friend or colleague that is also following and you're collaborating with. So here's a little GIF on how that can work and how you add those comments in there, which is, again, this is completely bypassing the email back and forth and making a really good use of your time. Unsubscribing from comments. So if you are a bit of a, if you're coming into a collaboration where you're kind of in there as an FYI, but you're not directly involved in the project or in this particular assignment that you are involved in, and there's back and forth, but it's not really related to you, but it's good for you to know, and you want to stop the notifications from the comments, you can sign in and open your file from the Dropbox website, click Options in the Comments pane, and from the Dropbox menu, you can unsubscribe from the notifications. But in saying that, even though you are unsubscribed, if another user happens to still mention you in a comment, but you've unsubscribed from receiving those comments on the file, you'll still receive a notification for the comment that actually mentions you. So I'm saying mentioned. If someone's directly said, @Despina Karatius, can you please now review the final version? We look forward to your feedback. That will still give you a ping that there's action required that is directly related to you. But it would have maybe avoided, because you've unsubscribed, maybe 50 pings prior to that for your colleagues that have been working on that particular file. Now, updating your account settings, you can update your personal email address, administer the linked computers to your account in your security tab. You can view and administer the third-party apps linked to your Dropbox account via the My Apps tab, and you can disconnect your personal and business Dropboxes via this profile tab as well. In updating your account settings, this is also where we spoke earlier, where you can enable your two-step verification in the security tab, and also change your language preferences on the profile tab as well. And further to this, you can remote wipe your data. What we spoke about earlier, in the sense that you could come in here and you can go in, and if you lose a laptop, phone or tablet and you want to make sure that sensitive company data stays where it should, and you don't want anyone to access it, you can come in here and be able to do that as well. Okay, so you can come in here and make sure and ensure that you are not going to that your information is not going to go to anyone and anyone that is not meant to. And the way to do that, you're going to go and sign into your Dropbox website, open your accounts menu and select settings. And from there, on your security tab, you find the device that has the Dropbox you want to delete. And then in the pop-up window, you can select the option delete files from this computer the next time it comes online, and then click unlink. So you can see here, it doesn't mean wiping everything everywhere in your Dropbox and you never have access to it again. It literally saying just wipe everything from this laptop because it's been stolen, and I want the people that have it to have access to my files. But remember, you're still going to have your files via your web logging in your Dropbox. You'll still have it if you've got the app. You'll still have it on your desktop computer if you've got it there. Okay, so it's just a good security measure to know. To tell you a little story, I had forgotten my laptop. You know, when you go through security on a flight, I was going on an international flight. I checked my laptop into the security area. I've gone away. I've gone to my gate lounge before the flight takes off, and I realized that I don't have my laptop. Shock horror, but I tracked back and I realized I'd forgotten it back at security. Now, while I was waiting there, stressing my little mind out that anybody could have picked it up and left with it, and that is always my fear, and I lived it in this particular occasion, I actually had a thought, you know what, I actually don't have a problem outside of the investment of my laptop, which at the time was new, and my new Mac Air that I had purchased. I thought this actually doesn't impact my business whatsoever, because I've got nothing physically stored on the laptop that I don't have access to actually via my phone that I had on me at the moment. So the way I set up my business is so lean with this in mind and in the cloud, that whoever took my laptop, it wouldn't impact or, you know, stop me from running my business. There was nothing on there that I couldn't access. So a summary of our lesson: we've identified where we can find deleted files on the Dropbox site, how we can restore files and folders, and in case we lose our phone, our tablet, our laptop, or even if someone comes and breaks in and steals your desktop, how we can erase important data remotely, okay, without even having to retrieve it back, how we can go in and quickly remove that from people we don't want to see it. Okay, that's it for this lesson. Automatic synchronization is the killer feature of Dropbox, something that will save you lots of time and streamline your collaboration. This is from an author of a Dropbox book called Dropbox in 30 Minutes, if you want to go and check it out on Amazon, and the author is called Ian Lamont. So to summarize what we've gone through beginning with Dropbox, working in teams and collaboration. We looked at some additional features and some advanced Dropbox tips with your security measures if you do look to a Dropbox cloud solution to move your business on, away from hardware and in the cloud. Thank you so much. Here is all the different ways again we can stay connected, and you can, I'd always love your feedback. If you found this training valuable, I'd love to hear. If there's any other questions, please never hesitate to reach out. So thank you very much. We've got one more installment within this series, and we'll talk about one of my absolute favorite tools that is a cloud solution for design in your business, and that's Canva. So until then, have a wonderful day, and I will look forward to seeing you again soon. Okay, be excellent.